Hi, my name is Dale Venturini. I'm president of the Rhode Island Hospitality Association. And today we're going to talk about crisis communications with Lisa Doucet, the Senior Vice President at Regan Communications. Lisa, every morning I wake up and there's a crisis in the paper. I think we're getting desensitized to it. But I want to make sure that our members understand what truly is a crisis and some of the top things they have to do immediately before we take over and try to fix something.
Right. So Dale, thanks for having me here today. A crisis really is anything that could affect a business in terms of the monetary aspect or their brand or reputation. Examples of crisis could be anything from a foodborne illness to an employee situation to a customer situation to a theft. It really could run the full gamut. Some things that people need to be cognizant of when they have a crisis is, first, the immediate reaction is to go out with something quickly to try and do some damage control. And while we need to immediately address a situation, what we have to do is pause for a moment, evaluate the situation, and make sure that we are representing the brand properly, that we are being transparent, and that we are thinking and putting the appropriate strategy behind a crisis response.
You said a very important word to me today is pause. We're practicing that in our office right now because sometimes something happens and we want to react right away.
Right.
And I know we shouldn't. Sometimes we have to just think about all of the repercussions of any action that we take. Mm-hmm. So what is the first thing someone should do? The very, very first thing they should do?
They should get every detail possible on the crisis. They should interview people within their own staff so that they have all the facts. That is incredibly important. What we see a lot in crisis communications is that people go off with half the information in an effort to make a statement, to be responsive to media if media is inquiring. And what happens in that respect is if you're caught with misinformation, it looks like you're lying. And once the media perceive you to be lying, then, all bets are off.
They start digging deeper because they think you've got something to hide.
Right.
So how about assigning someone to be the media spokesperson? I see a lot of times where the media might come in and they'll grab the first person that they see to get a comment.
Yeah.
What about putting into practice who has the responsibility to respond?
Yeah, so that's something that's very important. So at Regan Communications, when we develop crisis plans, we always have something called a media protocol. And what that document does is sort of take people through a step-by-step process on if the media is calling you or showing up on your property, who should be speaking to them. One voice is incredibly important. There should be one person designated as the spokesperson. That person should stay on message, and that person should be the only person interacting with the media. Media is on a 24-hour news cycle right now through traditional media outlets as well as social media outlets. So everyone's looking for a new angle and a new storyline, and they're going to do what it takes to get that storyline.
What about if you figure, I'm going to ignore it and it's going to go away?
That never works. That'll never work. So ignoring something will just cause the media to look harder at it. The most important thing you can do is be responsive to media. They have a job to do. And if you provide them with the details so they can do their job, they're going to be fair and honest, by and large. So running from something will not work. But, obviously media understands that when a crisis is ongoing, that the owner or operator needs some time to understand what's happening. So even a simple reach out to say, I'm going to need a little bit of time so I can understand what's happening, but I will get back to you, will buy a ton of good faith.
The calls that we get the most is they've got a bad review or a customer wrote something poorly and now it's out there and it's evolving into something bigger. How do you advise people about responding to especially something negative on social media?
Well, I think that everything has to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. Sometimes our advice would be, depending on the magnitude of the crises, our advice would be, we have a standard statement that we would employ publicly. Sometimes if it doesn't warrant that and it's individuals that are just looking to be heard, having the ability to quickly respond to individuals off of this public social media page, so through direct messaging, through email, through phone call, will go a long way.
So in other words, no tete-a-tete on whatever that social media platform is. Try to get them offline to address it.
Absolutely, because the more you feed into that storyline, the more that storyline will live longer.
I must admit my immediate response is just to want to keep going at it, but you're right. pause, that secret word or that special word for 2018 for us is pause. So Lisa, thank you again for your help. You've been there for many of our members, and I'd like to say I hope there are not many more, but I know that's not going to be true, so we'll be working together again soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.